It's AFA Today from New York City. Kevin McCullough, glad to have you with us. It's a beautiful day here, a warm one in our nation's capital as well, and another day that World War II veterans are being turned away from the World War II Memorial. There are some petition efforts underway. There's some other things. In fact, you may have received, if you are a subscriber to the AFA mailing list, you may have received a special letter from Tim Wildman this morning, adding the voice of American Family Association to this cause. But what we're really up against here is unlawful action by the chief law enforcement of the country. The president and the executive branch violating the law in trying to enforce whims of their own so that they can, for whatever reason, I'm not sure. I don't know how to read what they're doing. I don't know how to tell you because there's nothing that can really truly explain it. There's nothing that makes sense to say this is why they want the World War II memorial shut down. It should have almost no impact on the discussion about the government shutdown or the ongoing debate about Obamacare. And by the way, the rollout is going very badly. Yesterday, the state of Louisiana had 0 enrollments. 0. California overstated the number of people that enrolled in its program by about 8 times. 800%. They said they had more than what actually enrolled. And in New York, something funny's going on there. In New York State, where they have approximately 1 million people uninsured, 10 million people supposedly hit the website yesterday. Friends, there's something really goofy about this entire thing. There's so many glitches and there's so many flaws. And we're supposed to be acting as though this is just the gospel. There's a lot of people that don't feel that way and still don't. Anna from Maryland yesterday said, Kevin, I'm from Maryland. I was listening to AFA Today on WTRM on Wednesday. I heard Grace rant and go on about how people are so terrible to disrespect the president. We should stop saying these things that make him look bad and all the rest. Seriously, isn't that what she was also doing to everyone who is just expressing their opinion as she was doing? She said, in reality, the president and that lady both need our prayers. This is the ultimate. This is the ultimate kind of end result, too. By the way, of government acting as badly as it is currently. To be able to divide the American people, to be unkind to one another, to push one another into directions that force one to take sides instead of evaluating the issue and understanding the issues and being focused on the truth, being focused on facts. It's much more advantageous for the government to create windstorms and to get people angry. And Grace said some interesting stuff yesterday. That call stayed with me a good deal of the day because as I was thinking about it, and I went back and listened to it again on the podcast at afr.net. You can do that if you'd like. There were some things that she said that I didn't address yesterday that I probably should have. She said at one point, well, I believe everybody should have the right to medical care. The assumption in saying that is that in some way they don't currently have the right to medical care. And I did answer that in part on the show yesterday, that a lot of people that don't have even formal health programs use the emergency room at their local hospital as though they do. That costs us a few $1 million in excess costs each year, but that few $1 million is far less than the few $1 billion of increased spending that Obamacare, when fully implemented, will cost us. But beyond that, there's almost never... When someone like Grace called in yesterday, there's almost never an acknowledgement that there's another part of this story. And it's really something that we owe to ourselves to think about and to discuss. And I want you to stay with me because you know, if you listen to this broadcast on a regular basis, that I'm about obliterating confusion and replacing it with truth. The government is running a lot of subterfuge. Let me give you an example. Yesterday it was announced in the next edition of Cosmopolitan magazine there will be an article demonstrating for young women, hip women in the country, 8 key benefits to Obamacare. They are all listed as free options that women will be supplied with. What they never explained in the article is how much more in taxes Obamacare costs the average person across the board in order to be able to achieve it. And this is where the rub is. We don't like to be told what to do from a moral perspective in our life. We don't want to be told that we shouldn't, that it's not good for us to smoke. We don't want to be told that we shouldn't sleep with everything that walks, and thus by not doing so, avoid getting venereal disease and STDs and the like. We don't want. We as a people don't like to be told that we shouldn't take risks like driving over the speed limit or doing other things that would put us in harm's way of paralysis or other things, maybe even death at times. We don't like to be told what to do. But here's what we want. We always want an escape hatch for the problems that our selfishness creates. So if Grace was back today, what I would ask her about is, hey, Grace, let me ask you this. You say you want health care for all. You say you want Obamacare in existence so that everybody can receive medical care for anything they want at any time. Do you think the human being has any responsibility in that matter? Because here's what I don't think is fair. I'm a hardworking father of 3, husband of an amazing bride, and I work very hard. We live in a middle-class town here in the tri-state area. We pay our taxes. We budget our money. We live on a budget. We try to do what we can to prepare for the future and try to, in case something bad happens. But we're trying to be diligent and persevere in that diligence for the cause of the unforeseen. Now, in doing that, there's something else that she does. My bride cooks organic vegetables, and she prepares healthy meals. And every night we have a well-balanced diet that allows us to not only enjoy her cooking abilities, but also to remain healthy. There is no one that smokes in our home. We don't engage in wild, promiscuous sex. All the other kinds of things that people can do that may, in fact, create health problems for them, we choose not to do. We choose to live a very abstinent life of a lot of that stuff. Now, should it be, and this is a fair question, should it be my responsibility then to pay the same amount in taxes as a guy that may live 2 doors down from me who smokes, drinks, uses recreational drugs, eats 15 Big Macs a week, decides he's never, if ever, going to exercise, and basically take no responsibility for his health condition at all? Should he and I be paying equally responsible for the insurance that our families use and for the needs that we have? My argument would be no. My argument would be that he should pay a great deal more because of all of the factors in his life that take recklessness and lack of stewardship into consideration. That's a biblical perspective, Grace. That's a biblical idea that talks about individual responsibility. Gang members get into fights and they shoot each other up with Uzi machine guns, and they get taken to hospitals, and great amounts of money are spent on surgeries to repair and to save and to do what all there. Should those young men and should a law-abiding household be paying the same amount for their insurance? Should it all be one size fits all? No. Why not? Because they are reckless risk takers that are purposefully endangering themselves and other people. You cannot get away from the idea that morality has to play a role in governance. And for every Democrat and liberal that comes to me and goes, it's not your business to tell me who God is or what he wants for my life, I'm just sitting here going, but you're trying to make me take on a moral responsibility and compunction to take care of you. And I don't like labels. I don't like using the partisan labels. But those are the mindsets. It's, am I responsible for myself or is someone else responsible for me? Kevin, it's not fair. You're talking about people that smoked for years and now they have lung cancer and there's nothing they can do about it. Well, I know that that's not ideal. But how do you begin to turn the corner? Where do you begin to say to people, look, if you don't want to deal with this massive amount of medical bills and other stuff, don't do some of the things that take you there. Is it wrong to say that? Is it in some way out of bounds or off the table to address an individual's moral responsibility in the matter of how their health is cared for? I don't know, but that's where the whole barricading of the World War II memorials all come down to. It's all about who pays for whose health care. And I think, as God is my witness, every day I get up, the thought that goes through my head is, I better be responsible for myself and my family as I get out there in the world today. I need to be providing for our needs, and I need to make sure that we have what we need in order to live, because I'm not expecting other people to take care of them. I think to expect others to take care of you is always an immoral thing. That doesn't mean from time to time you might not need help. But I think to expect it from other people is always unbiblical and immoral. 888-589-8840. Let's take some calls. People have been very patient. Let's start with Elvin in Texas. Elvin, you're up first with Kevin McCullough on AFA Today. Hi.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. What's your thought?
I was listening to President Obama about a couple of weeks ago, and he used an example of a 28-year-old female, and that her healthcare needs were, birth control and just pretty much the whole Planned Parenthood rundown. And the thought just came to mind. The scripture says, "Righteousness exalts a nation, but sin is a reproach to any people." And the reason why I say that, here we are, paying for other people's promiscuity, just like you were saying earlier, and promoting sin, but we can't pay for the things that we really need to pay for because we're praying for all the vulnerable things that the Bible goes against. And what really concerns me is Romans 1:32, pretty much it says in our language that it was already bad enough that people that were doing these things, but then those that knew better gave approval and encouraged them to do it. So I think we were in a bad position as a nation, the people's mindset and everything. So that's pretty much my comment.
No, I agree with you, Elvin, and I appreciate the fact that you're such a clear thinker on this, because you're right. Embedded in the Obamacare program are all the things that most Bible-believing Christians find objectionable. Particularly the medical mandates, particularly the forced coverage for abortion and birth control. A lot of those types of things are all in there. But there's going to be more than that. Before it's all done, you're going to be forced to pay for everyone's AIDS medical cocktails and everything else, because we don't want to be responsible for our actions. We as Americans believe that we can do whatever we want, and that there should always be a solution for it. And if there isn't, then it's a problem, and we have to have government create it. And I don't see anything in the Bible that reflects that. I don't. I see people that try to live honorably and show honor to one another, but I don't see anything in the Bible that says, I can expect someone else to take care of me. Let's talk to Paul in Texas. Paul, welcome. You're on with Kevin McCullough on AFA Today. Hi.
Hi. My prediction is these barricades are going to come down because it's going to be such an embarrassment that he won't be able to stand it. But for the time being, I think the facts of how this has unfolded is an absolute clear indictment of the president, and I think the way things have happened, there's no escaping it. That one, like you, I've been to that World War II memorial, and to barricade it makes as much sense as picking out an arbitrary sidewalk on the streets of Washington, D.C., and saying because of the shutdown, we have to close this public sidewalk.
Right.
And the fact that as of yesterday, when I was hearing about this, I turned on to Fox News to see if they were going to say anything, and the reporter there, Molly Henninger, I hope I said her name right.
Hennenberg, yes.
Hennenberg. She was out at the mall, and she had videos of, at that time yesterday, of congressional members pulling the barricades back, shaking the hands of World War II veterans and letting them in, and she reported that members of the Park Service had said, well, we consider this a First Amendment event and met them in, which means contrary to the White House administration, there still are constitutional moles scattered throughout the government to their chagrin. And, of course, now the icing on the cake that they're chaining and sandbagging these down is an absolute it's no longer an accident. It's no longer a misunderstanding. It's deliberate and willful. And the only person that can be doing this is the president. Imagine any other president hearing about this and not picking up the phone to the Park Service and saying, why are you spending extra money to barricade these people from walking around what's really an open-air sidewalk? I mean, there's no escaping that this is a window into the character of Barack Obama.
And in a way, Paul, very well said, by the way, and in a way that we haven't really had a chance to see, because most of the things that people have complained about have said, he's always pawned it off on Pelosi or Reid or someone else, and it's been, the Congress decided to act that way, and I couldn't do anything. That not all that falls apart here. This is expressly the White House's intention. They are spending money that they say they don't have to have police officers and barricades and sandbags and chains put up around something that was never intended to be cut off from the American people. It is an open air field. You just walk through the mall and you find yourself upon the World War II memorial. There's no organized entrance or exit. There's no crowd control. There's none of that. It's just an open air memorial. And the lengths that we are going to purposefully spit in the face of World War II veterans is appalling. It's just appalling. I'm Kevin McCullough. More of your calls and thoughts on all things related to the top story of the day, the shutdown, Obamacare, the veterans, and the World War II memorial, when we continue on AFA Today here on AFR Talk.